This show is a member of the Sorgatron Media Podcast Network. Find out more at sorgatronmedia.com. This show is brought to you by IndyWrestling.us. Check out IWC, RWA, and more. And listeners like you, support this show at patreon.com/Wrestling Mayhem Show.
Hungry as fuck, but I ain't starving yet. Chain for the pain, cocktail dog set. Never said I was a gangster or thug, but I'm an animal. Feeding for the taste of the blood.
Hey guys, it is the Indy Mayhem Show. I'm Mike Sorg at Sorgatron on the Twitter here in the Sorgatron Media Studios in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and we're going to have a fun one tonight. The newbies are in studio from the International Wrestling Cartel in part one of our hopefully two-part series of this, because so many came out of the class this year. But we'll get into that in a moment. In the meantime, please go check out everything at WrestlingMayhemShow.com and hit us up at goodtimes@WrestlingMayhemShow.com or 412-206-WMS0. Let us know any thoughts you have on anybody coming up, any questions for anybody we have scheduled that you can see over on the IndyWrestling.us and Wrestling Mayhem Show Facebook pages to see who is coming up and who we do have scheduled. They pop up here and there. Sometimes we'll get like 2 interviews in a night. Sometimes, who knows? And we'll get a panel, and we are looking for suggestions. If there's anybody you think we should talk to, let us know. We definitely take those under consideration when we are booking guests for this show. So, and of course, please go check out everything over at IndyWrestling.us. A lot of the people on the show, including our guests tonight, you can see their matches, some of them their first matches over there at IndyWrestling.us on video on demand there in rental and purchase form, or maybe eventually over on the IndyWrestling.us network you can catch it, guys, like the no handshake selling Lee Moriarty, as we're going to find out here in a little bit. I'll throw him out there. That's the second time this week, by the way, I've heard a story about his handshakes. But anyways, that's for another show on the network. But we have 2 guests with us, both just recently, within the past 2 weeks, completing their first official professional wrestling matches. First of all, we'll just go down the couch. We have with us, he is the Professor.
Elijah Dean? What?
Whoops, wrong one. There you go.
Oh, there we go.
There you go. Mislabeled. For some reason, this is the one labeled Honey Badger. So,
That one of the less common sex nicknames I've ever heard.
whoa. Okay.
Oh, no.
I have a long and interesting life.
The Professor Ryan Dye joining
Thank you
us.
very
Hello. How you doing?
Not bad. Thank you for having me.
And also, as was partially previewed, he is, and we're going to ask him what this is because there's a lot of discussion on commentary about what a man dime is.
What a man dime is.
Yes.
Means I'm the sexiest man out there. That's what the man
That's
dime
right.
is.
The man dime, Elijah Dean, joins us as well. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great.
So we like to warm things up, especially since you guys are a brand new to the wrestling ring. We like to have a little icebreaker of finding out what is your earliest memory of pro wrestling. Let's go.
You want to take that one first?
I gotta think.
Up to you. You're the guy behind the desk.
Go ahead, Professor.
Oh, okay then.
I thought you guys were going to choose for me. So.
Oh, no. I'll make decisions for you. I don't care. It's not my show.
It's not like this show has not been taken over before.
All right. Earliest memory of wrestling. So back in the day, I used to go to this thing called kindergarten.
Oh.
And this was during the Attitude Era where...
Attitude Era kindergarten?
Yeah, Attitude Era kindergarten. Down in the...
this is the part of the show where I feel really old.
It's down in the deep, dank hollers of West Virginia. Mm-hmm. There are all these kids that were really into wrestling. And, they have these skull T-shirts, and they're doing crotch chops.
Wait. In kindergarten?
Yeah.
Okay.
Listen, this is West Virginia. Parents don't care what their kids wear.
Okay, that is true. That is true. Okay.
Yeah. And they're talking about, Goldberg, Stone Cold Steve Austin. And meanwhile, I just saw like 2 bald guys. I don't know who they are. Yeah. But
it was confusing in the 90s.
Yeah, I have a hard time telling people apart anyway, so I just saw 2 bald guys, and they're both wrestlers, and one guy wears a vest, and the other guy wears small pants. They're to me they're hard to tell apart back at that young, supple age. Anyway,
supple.
Listen, I've got adjectives.
Okay, that's why he's the professor.
Yes, I know words. Anyway, So because I wanted to be part of this cool kids club, I begged my dad for weeks. Dad, we have to watch wrestling so I can be cool. I want to see these totally realistic fights. And my dad finally obliges. And, okay, this WCW Nitro. I honestly forget what show it was, but I think it was WCW.
You had a bald guy.
And it didn't have a bald guy.
It didn't have a bald guy.
No. It cuts to, I'm sure someone's going to point out who it was.
Mm-hmm.
Some guy cutting a promo in the ring and like, oh my gosh, he's big and he's covered in chains and leather. This seems like my kind of thing. Don't you judge me. Not yet. Anyway. So suddenly, from the rafters comes famous movie serial killer Chucky, and he starts cutting a promo on some guy in the ring because Bride of Chucky was coming out, and there's this thing called cross promotion. And my dad got up off the couch, drunkenly stumbled his way to the TV, and turned it off, which was the first time I ever saw him do that. And he said, "No, never again." And thus the seeds were sown.
Wait.
Well,
So
I should
you're-
have went first. 'Cause I'm not talking that.
So your earliest memory
Was disappointing my father, yes.
was he mad because it was Chucky, or was he mad just because it was complete shit? Let me roll back, because I will just for context for maybe people that don't know. This was a segment where there was Chucky and Bride of Chucky, I believe it was. You're right, and I think he was having a verbal confrontation with Rick Steiner.
That explains the chains.
Yes. So again, was it disappointment that it's a Chucky, or disappointment that was just complete crap TV at the time?
Well, I'm still at the age where I thought it was real. And, he's like, okay, well,
Even with Chucky?
even with Chucky,
Okay.
like, that doll's alive? I thought it was just a toy. What does that mean about the world of Toy Story? Is Chucky killing toys in Toy Story? That's another drunken conversation we can have later.
Okay.
But, it's just, he saw immediately that it was not good for me. And
Okay.
it would never lead to anything productive in my life. So far, we haven't determined whether he's right or not.
We are still early in the process,
Yeah.
aren't we?
Still, but it's just like, this is just bad for everyone involved on this side of the screen and on that side of the screen. No one understands what's going on. I'm going to wean you off of wrestling somehow. Here, play a game of chess or something. Pretend to be smart.
So was it a bit of a battle to stay with wrestling? Did you separate from it for a little bit?
To be honest, my dad kind of convinced me right then and there that, this is dumb. And like, now that I learned that dolls won't kill me in my sleep, I think you're onto something, Dad. And I put it off for many years as, this is just, it's soap opera for men, and every wrestling fan thinks it's real. Hey, how dare you wrestling fans fall for this stuff? You are all so dumb, and I am not as dumb. And I don't know. It's later in life I caught more dumb things, but they're like dumb in a way that I could appreciate. Mm-hmm. My next real memory of wrestling was sometime late 2014. I was in the desert, and they had SmackDown on, and it was around Christmas time. And there was this big 10-20 diva battle royale, and they were all wearing, Christmas costumes.
Oh.
And the finish of the match was they linked arms, and they spun in a giant pinwheel to kind of like hurl people out of the ring. And I said, that's dumb as shit. Now I know that they don't think it's real either. Now I'm in on the joke. Now I'm going to start paying attention. I started paying attention.
Why were you in the desert?
Killing people. For my country.
Okay.
All right. You went.
There was a detail missing. Okay, we're in a good spot now.
Oh boy.
Wow. So the divas brought you back. Like any red-blooded American man.
They melted my frozen heart. on that Christmas Eve.
That was not very frozen in the desert.
It gets cold sometimes.
Okay,
I don't know.
that's true. That's true. There's some rough nights. I get it. Yeah. Wow. Mandime.
Well, I don't think I'm topping that.
I'm glad we started with the hot story. Yeah. Elijah Dean, what is your earliest memory of professional wrestling?
Well, I was born into the Attitude Era.
Okay. you're conceived
in 1998
as a result of a Stone Cold beer bash, probably.
Yeah. So as long as I can remember, my parents had wrestling on.
Okay.
They were more into WCW. So my dad was a huge Goldberg fan.
Okay.
But when I really started watching, it was probably like 04, 05. That I can remember, just a young kid in kindergarten. In 04, 05.
You were the kid that made him want to be cooler by watching wrestling.
Yes.
In your kindergarten.
He wasn't there.
No. I know. I'm just saying, like in his kindergarten,
right.
He was the other kid.
Okay.
And there's another you that he's influencing.
All right. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
You see that?
Yes, I get it. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Hypothetically.
I've caught up.
Yeah,
proceed.
So I was real into, that's ruthless aggression and blood. Mm-hmm. And I see, Eddie Guerrero and JBL getting split open.
Oh.
And Shawn Michaels really stood out to me at the time. Still does. As a favorite of all time. So just from then on, been hooked. And there was a period where, I didn't just find out wrestling was, fake. Dad told me, I don't know why you're watching this still. It's fake. And you're crushing a kid's spirit at that point. So I'm just like, screw this. I'm done watching wrestling. And that was probably like 08. And then I ventured back into wrestling like 2011 because a guy by the name of CM Punk, I had turned on the TV and he was on the top of the ramp cutting his infamous promo, the pipe bomb, and hooked again. Haven't been unhooked since.
So that's interesting. So both of you have, okay, maybe at young ages, kind of got separated from it and came back around. Yours wasn't a diva, though.
No.
It
was a guy with slicked back hair, I guess.
I mean, I didn't. All right, we'll cross that bridge when we come to burn it, I guess. I've got more. I have more wrestling stories.
Great. So that's how you guys got into it, and you kind of got hooked into it. At what point did you kind of decide that you wanted to actually get in the ring and do this thing?
You want to tell your boring story first, and then I'll.
Yeah, let's flip it. Let's flip it.
Yeah, let's
just
see.
in case.
All right. So again, 2011, I see the pipe bomb promo, and I'm hooked on this whole CM Punk run. And while that's happening, I find some guys, now close friends, one which is in the wrestling business, won't mention names, but he has a ring in his backyard. He says, I go to watch him. He says, you want to do it? And unsafe as all hell. I don't recommend it. Get trained if you want to be a wrestler. But I'm like, sure. Getting there, probably, not a real ring. It's more like a pony ring. It's nice little guy.
It wasn't a trampoline ring. It was just a
nice
little...
stiff boards.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
I think they had one of those in the the big battle royal a month ago.
I get in there and I'm like, wow, this feels natural to me. It's just, I like this feeling. So from there on, I'm like, all right, I need to become a wrestler. Like, I feel like this is what I was meant to do. I always liked entertaining people and have an athletic background, so that goes with that. And I'm just, whole high school career, I'm sitting there just, I'm going to be a wrestler. Finally tell my parents I'm going to be a wrestler, and they were not happy about that. That's where my disappointed father comes into play.
See, we all have disappointed fathers.
Yeah, he is not okay with it. But anyways, I'm still just no, I'm gonna do this and become a wrestler because it's what feels right, and hasn't let me down yet. Let's hope it doesn't.
It's inevitable, but anyways, I mean, it is pro wrestling. All right, what about you, Professor? Obviously, you got your education.
Ish. No. So
Listen, there's so many doctors in wrestling, not as many professors.
okay, it's at least I'm a little bit different.
We have questioned all of their doctorates on this show.
I've never even heard of disastrophysics.
And you came out with beakers, so I am not questioning your. What is a professor, like a PhD or something? Is that how it works?
Yes. Well, professor's more of a job title.
Are you
but
a
like,
scientist? What is?
I mean, I pretend to be smart, but
Just
No.
just like scientists.
all right. So the thing that told me that I should get into professional wrestling was, all right. So Chucky disappointed me.
Okay,
The
not
divas,
Chucky.
the
Back to
divas,
Chucky.
like they put their hand on their shoulder, like don't take it so seriously. Like okay, thank you, divas. And then, after I don't know how to put it. I had been betrayed in real life by a friend, and this person I called my brother, stabbed me in the back. Oh, if only there was some sort of relevant storyline going on at the time. That with who's this Dean Ambrose fella, and who's this Seth Rollins prick, and I became a shield mark overnight, and I saw a story that I could relate to, and I thought, all right, if the divas told me that don't take it too seriously, the Shield storyline told me that I can take it seriously and, give it the benefit of the doubt, and it could be genuinely entertaining and make me want to know more.
So basically, wrestling was encoding these special personalized messages to you
Yeah.
throughout your watching career.
Yeah. I've learned so much from wrestling. Just so much. I'm not even going to get into the thing about, child divorce lawyers and winning children from ladder matches. That I'm pretty sure they go over that in law school. I'll have to ask Chris later. But anyway, I learned that it could be something that you don't have to be ashamed of. And I thought, well, I'm kind of athletic because the government says I am. And the government has no
Why?
use for me after I get out of the Air Force. So I'll try to, do something to, express my creativity and do something interesting and cool. And, I'll give it a shot. I know that I will fail and never succeed, but at the very least, I'll have that, that special photo in the back of my wallet that says, I tried. I gave it my all. So, and then I succeeded, sort of. And now I don't know what I'm doing. And it's all very frightening.
And making history in the first ever Tiki death match. We'll get to that in a little bit. Yes.
Oh boy.
So from there, obviously, both of you guys went to the IWC training school there under Chris LaRusso, under his tutelage. So how did you come across the school and kind of get involved there?
All right. Well, leaving the Air Force and the ass end of Texas, I don't want to go back to West Virginia. West Virginia sucks. I know what's cool. Pittsburgh is cool. They have buildings and they're shiny and they're made of glass and stuff. And I want to.
There's none of that in West Virginia.
No.
Actually, I don't think there is at all. Is there?
No, there's plexiglass.
Okay.
And, meth labs. But, so I decided to move up to, Pittsburgh. And I thought, you know what? I think I should go to a live show before I commit to this. And Pittsburgh Wrestling Express. I'll go there. And I saw a couple shows and I'm supporting independent wrestling. I'm seeing these guys before they make it. I'm doing this thing. The ring broke once or twice, but that was part of the fun. And
Yeah.
And I looked into their training program, and I looked into IWC, and I just gone to IWC more recently before I decided to train, and I thought I really like this product. I really like these wrestlers. I'll give them my money first. And after a show, I stalked this guy with big poofy hair and small pants named Andrew Palace. And I said, "Sir, I'm really interested."
Yeah, I know you got your deal with the Andrew
guy.
Palace. Yeah.
He hadn't punched me in the face at that point. Anyway, I didn't punch you in the face either. I don't think. Maybe he did. Maybe
Shut up.
Listen, I don't know your story. Anyway, yeah, and he suggested like, oh yeah, send an email to this guy named Justin Plummer. You know, he'll be glad to take your money and promise you fame, and response to that. And I was like, yeah, all right, I like that plan.
It sounds like a good plan.
Yeah. And so far, it's worked out great. Except for the unicorn to the dick thing, but that'll happen.
All right, before we get to your first match, Man Dime, what is your story? How did you get to the IWC training school?
All right, so I always went to IWC shows in high school just as an IWC mark. Founding Fathers really stood out to me just because they were entertaining.
And that's the Jimmy Vegas, Dennis Gregory, Super Hentai. I don't know which iterations you were watching.
Yeah, I think that's the one.
I know Justin Idol, Bubba the Bulldog at some points there.
And at the time, Jimmy Nuts was on top of his game.
Jimmy Nuts!
Yep.
Man!
So,
man, I miss Jimmy Nuts.
And actually,
let's go Nuts.
The way I went to these shows was I went to a youth group. And I am not a religious man at all. But I hear that they go to wrestling shows. So I'm in there.
Wait. I want to back this up because I also went to a youth group when I was younger, and I was religious. It still am, but other than that.
Jesus invented the crucifix powerbomb.
I don't think he did.
So you heard the youth group goes to wrestling shows, so you joined the youth group so you had people to go to wrestling shows with?
Yeah. It was like, I live like an hour and a half away.
Okay,
I don't have a
deal.
license.
Wait.
I'm like, this is a way to get there.
Wait. Did they take the church van?
Did they? They might have. I think they did.
I just love this idea that there's like a church youth group that's going to like IWC where, geez, I don't know. We had Tommy Dreamer and Rhino just not too long ago doing hardcore.
I was there at that time.
You had to have been, right?
We loved it. Guess who was in that church van with me? None other than the country hammer, Jamie Jameson.
Whoa! You know what? If I could imagine anybody on the IWC roster in a church van, it's the country hammer.
So yeah, I guarantee you could pull up old photos of me and a young pudgy Jamie Jameson in the crowd at IWC shows, and I'd go there and I was like, I wonder if they have a wrestling school. Mm-hmm. So our pastor, he knew Jimmy Nuts, so we'd talk to him.
I love how this comes together.
Yeah, we talked to him, and for some reason he's telling us that school's closing down. But I'm still too young at this time, like I wasn't graduating for another few years.
Yeah.
So,
and I think at the time there was probably like they were switching trainers or something.
Yeah.
People were leaving, coming and going.
So Jamie Jameson goes to OVW, and then he comes back home and starts training at IWC. And I'm like, well, I'm not moving to Kentucky or New Jersey just to train for wrestling. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to go to IWC. I liked their shows before, and I was recommended because he told me Chris and Andrew Palace were great trainers, and like, all right, I'm going to go to this.
Awesome. Cool. So what was when you guys got into training, obviously you kind of, I want to say played around in a ring already, so you had a little bit of familiarity there, right?
I guess you call that a ring.
I don't know. I think Sean Phoenix called you guys dirty yarders already in the chat room. So what was your expectations going into the training, and how did that kind of live up for you guys?
Well, in the meantime, between becoming a Shield mark and deciding I get into wrestling, I decided to become what do you call it? A smarter mark, a really
you're one of those guys.
Yeah, I was and am and I am. I'm still am. Anyway, I decided I'm going to become as knowledgeable as possible, so I'm going to start listening to podcasts. And, Art of Wrestling, Jericho.
What did we do before podcast for you guys to learn about the wrestling business?
It's, I don't know, get laid maybe. But
I don't think you know anything about that.
hey, man, it's... Anyway, no, where was I? Yeah. And, many times they brought up their origins in wrestling, oh man, hitting taking a bump for the first time, killed me. And hitting the ropes for the first time, nearly broke my back. So, yeah, getting to the ring for the first time, I'm anticipating all of this. This is going to break me in half, just doing a simple flat back bump. And I'm never going to recover. But at the very least, I will have tried, and I'll have that nice little photo in my wallet. And, at the very least, I took a bump, so I'm the smartest of these smart guys in this chat room. And, I could live disappointed, but not as disappointed. And then I took a bump, and, I'm still in one piece. Mm-hmm. And then I tried running the ropes, and that was a disaster, but I didn't get broken in half. Mm-hmm. And... yeah, and, I had, my first check, and I didn't disappoint Chris LaRusso to the point of crying, and I thought, I'm on my way. Let's see what happens.
So attainable goals to move up. That's good.
Yeah.
What about you?
I'm the dime, so obviously it's. Mm-hmm. I know it's not going to be too hard, but I do sweat like everyone else. I'm human.
Okay.
But
okay.
So originally, I tried out a year before, mm-hmm. and at the time I was a senior in high school, and it'd be too difficult to get back and forth. So the tryout went well and all that, but I had a state championship to win in football. It was a commitment before wrestling, so I'm like, all right, let me finish this out senior year in high school, and then I'll go back for another go.
We had a championship to win in football. Look at me, I'm athletic.
So I knew it'd be tough. I didn't know the cardio would be that serious. Mm-hmm. So first time in the ring with...
what did you play in football, by the way?
Linebacker.
Linebacker?
Inside.
So not quite as much wrestling, running. I'm sorry.
No.
Yeah.
And so I get in the ring with, the gentleman I had trained with. Mm-hmm. And I believe our first class altogether, Sir LaRusso wasn't there. He wasn't in attendance. It was a man by the name of Andrew Palace.
That guy with
that
curly
guy.
hair. God, his hair is curly.
And he's the devil when it comes to cardio. I'm pretty sure Satan himself doesn't even do that to you. But there's these things called grape squishers, and put your arms in the corner. You start chugging them legs.
I've never heard of this.
Oh, my God. Ask any wrestler. They're going to have the same response. And a minute 30 will have you winded. Mm-hmm. We got 4 minutes straight. So,
yeah.
I remember he looked at all of us. He said, so does anybody want to quit? I'll pay your tryout fee if you want to quit today. Nobody quit that day. So, knew it was going to be hard, but toughed it out and stuck with it.
I remember that day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that
and
day.
he asked us, what are your intentions, for wrestling, and I'm gonna be champ.
Wait, like a father will ask about the daughter you're taking out.
Yes.
What are your intentions?
Yeah. What are your intentions?
As we're in a circle holding a plank.
Mm-hmm. After 4 minutes of grape squishes.
Yes.
Wait, there's a plank involved?
Like, you know what a plank is? Like,
yeah.
So
he's a big
after the
nut.
grape squishers, we're in a plank.
Oh, wait, the physical move.
Yes,
a plank.
a plank.
Okay.
We are all
Exercise.
for your
I'm
your
just
core.
picturing you passing a plank to speak for some reason. I'm sorry.
This is our trust circle. You must have the talking plank in order to share your feelings. No, we were all doing planks in the middle of the ring to train our abs. When he asked us about, what do you want out of all of this? And, Dime said, I'm going to be the champion. And, Johnny Patch said, I'm going to jump off stuff and be champion. And, Judo Kid says, I'm going to throw people into stuff and then be champion. And I just said, I don't want my dad to be disappointed anymore. And I'm going to try not to disappoint anyone else. Which I'm pretty sure is like the least committed answer, but it was the truth at the time.
Yeah. Wow. So you guys survived it. Proving Ground 7. You guys can go check it out. It's over on IndyWrestling.us for rental if you want to check out what these guys are doing. A little bit of previews on there as well. I'm going to have to try to get some more clips of you guys up as well from that show so people at least get a little tidbit of what all the new guys are about. But so you got your first show. Let's first one on the card I saw come out was the Man Dime. Now, the Man Dime we've seen.
Yep.
You've been coming out lately with Katie Arquette and Calvin Couture. I'm trying to say the T right. I know I do it wrong. It's impossible for me to do. Well, first of all, do you pronounce the T right?
Couture.
Is there like a training session he puts you through on that?
No, it's just you either got it or you don't.
I don't. It's that, and I can't roll my R's, and yeah. So.
I don't think you have to roll any R's in couture, but
No. But that's the other thing. Oh, never mind. So, tell me about first of all. So you got a little bit of at least exposure being out there, in front of fans, right?
Yeah. Believe it or not, I wasn't too nervous going into the match just because, the first time I went out there with Katie, I was like, all right, here's the butterflies. I got through it just fine. And I'm like, all right. So even before the match, they're like, you got it? You good? You nervous? I'm like, not really, actually, for some reason. So that was all good. This past weekend, at an event, though, wrestled some guy named Johnny Patch.
Some jack.
I was more nervous for that one. I don't know, maybe in much smaller crowd, but maybe because it's new environment, and that's why. But
is it a little bit because I know if you look at the card, you guys are really paired with some of the veterans, in there, and you drew Andrew Palace, of course you did. Is it a little different because there isn't that vet that you're up against? It's like you're there with another newbie to that point.
Yeah, this might be that, but I think it was just a lot of new faces there and just different promoter, and you're trying to impress different people, and it's all right, this is nerve-wracking now, but got through it there, so I'm in this for the long haul.
Tell me about Man Dime as the persona. Where did that come from? Is there any kind of backstory on that?
Oh, you're looking at him.
That's it. I look in the mirror and I say Man Dime.
I look in the mirror. I wake up in the morning. I piss excellence. I piss excellence. I send my 100-plus text messages to all the females that adore me and let them know how lucky they are to be talking to me.
He has not stopped being the Man Dime for the past 13 months. Not a second goes by without this guy diming it up at every opportunity. Yeah.
It's just me turned up a few notches.
Few notches. It's oh shoot, or you're running late. Hey Elijah, what time is it? It's dime time. Be helpful, please.
I have a lot. If you wanna... funny story. So I have a nice collection of watches, and
okay, you're a watch guy. Okay, that's pretty nice over there. That's not an Apple Watch. That thing is shiny.
We were at the Rise event, the all female Rise event, and Professor over here looks at me and he says, "Hey Dime, what time is it?" It's like I don't know. I don't keep time on these things. These are just for show.
I don't wind these.
As far as I'm concerned, every clock reads dime time, but that's just me.
And just like that, the best catchphrase in the whole world sprouted wings and took off that day.
Holy shit.
We're all better because of it.
Have you done a promo yet to unveil this on the world?
I have. I haven't even unveiled the Dean's list yet, but
oh no,
that's just a matter of time.
Okay, some things to look forward to. So how you feeling up after that first match?
I felt good. The reason I lost is because Palace almost hit Katie. But let's be honest here. He almost took her head off, and mine completely left the match. I was worried about the Queen, and he just got the best of me. But it happens, he beat Wardlow. It's not like he's not an accomplished man. He's on top of his game. So
how is it? Again, you're coming out with Katie, and she was in your corner for that. While not getting the win the first time out there. How is that to have somebody that also another? I would say more recent. I think she's the last class from a couple years ago.
Yep.
If I'm not mistaken. How is that in kind of supporting you and you're kind of getting out there for the first few times?
She's definitely very helpful. It's just very encouraging, and a lot of tips. Stay calm, go slow, and I couldn't speak more highly about her. She's really great. And what?
No, it's Boo Boo Bear says I'm great. Just listen to all these compliments roll off his tongue.
Shouldn't you be studying about chest flexor over there? Yeah, she's very helpful, and couldn't speak highly enough about her. If Calvin would have been there, I might have got the win. But
There you go.
who knows what he was doing that day? Like touring exotic islands.
Yeah.
Well, Professor, you drew chest flexor.
Yes.
You had a title match, your first outing.
Yes, I did.
So that's, you have that mark for the, and also, as I mentioned, the first ever Tiki Death Match.
The first ever Tiki Death Match.
Yes, and which the rules were the only way to win was to throw your opponent over the top rope and both feet hit the floor.
Right. Kind of a deceptive name, huh?
It's sure.
Yeah. No, I had studied the history of the high stakes championship, and a lot of violence happens between those ropes.
Yes.
So I was studying all sorts of different death matches, landmine explosion death matches, whoever eats the most glass wins death matches.
Seems right. The mid 2000s were pretty rough.
Just
at IWC.
all sorts of things like that, and I had every countermeasure, prepared except for what I believe might be the very first 2-man over-the-top battle royale.
Tiki Death Match.
Tiki Death Match. On paper, it's a Tiki Death Match.
It's in the back of my skull. It's a Tiki Death Match. In my nightmares, it's a Tiki Death Match. I keep hearing the words Tiki Death Match because people keep saying to me, Tiki Death Match. I haven't forgotten. I'm just trying to be technical. In layman's terms, if they hadn't been bombarded with the words Tiki Death Match in their sleep over and over again, they would call that a 2-person over-the-top battle royale. Now that we've got that settled. Are you done? Are you done being unhelpful? I know the answer to that. It's no. You'll never be done being unhelpful. Where was I? I've lost track.
Tiki Death Match.
Tiki Death... that word again. Right. So, I figured, I had the upper hand. It's... I weigh a little bit more than chest flexor. I measured him. Don't ask me how. But I figured out, these are things I should know. I'm heavier than him. That'll give me the advantage. And maybe I took that for granted. Maybe I didn't take into account how slippery he was, because he's oddly slippery. I even wore special gloves for the occasion to give me more of a grip. But it didn't help, apparently. Every time I got to him, he evaded my grasp somehow. And, oh my gosh. Just at the last second, when I unveiled my ace up my sleeve, or should I say the referee's pocket, a vial venom of the most caustic things I could find in my laboratory. Don't correct me. He turned the tables. He struck me in the throat. I swallowed it. I am not that guy from The Princess Bride where I've become immune to every poison in the world.
Or Tommy Dreamer.
Or Tommy Dreamer. I imagine he takes in a lot of poison. I'll have to ask him about that someday. Is he immune to poison?
I don't know, but he's eaten at least 2 hot dogs off of the floor after a Dylan Bostic match.
That sounds like the same thing.
Yeah.
That's similar. But, I had to vacate the ring. And everything's on the tape. I tried to make an opportunity of that setback. And apparently some unicorn named Winthrop found its name into the ring. He used it against me, twice in succession. And wildly out of control, he flung me to the corner. The momentum took me over the top rope, and he did a crane kick out of the Karate Kid movies, which...
Should have studied Karate Kid.
I'm pretty sure that was illegal in the tournament.
That was illegal in the tournament, but not in a tiki death match. God, I hate those words.
Johnny was the hero. So the professor, like, how did the professor come about? And now I've heard, before the shows over the last several months, I just hear Chris Russo yell "Professor" and bark commands.
Right.
And I'm just like, what is happening there? And it was kind of interesting to finally see what he's talking about.
Well, when I'm not busy doing squats and lifting up heavy things in the gymnasium, I'm pursuing an engineering degree. And I thought, this engineering degree is perfect for me because I ask a lot of questions, there's a lot of math involved, and, in physics and such, everything needs to go just right. You need this vector to be right, you need this angle to be right. If you don't take into account this, this thing over here, things could go poorly, let's say. And so near the beginning of training, Chris or Palace would tell me a very simple command. Okay, hurl this jag off over here. All right, now when I hurl this jag off, at what point do I apply, the most amount of force? Because the center of gravity is down here. Just throw the guy. All right. And I always asked way too many questions. I always overthought things to the point where it's just stop being a professor and just, do something. And, the nickname stuck. And, I got to the point where, that's really who I am. A guy who overthinks things, a guy who talks too much, a guy who asks too many questions, or a guy who doesn't ask the right questions at the right particular time, and things just kind of go haywire. And, I have a love of science. Science loves me back for the most part. And it does.
Does it?
You don't know, but, the things between me and science.
Your method failed you.
Don't bring up the violentific method. Not yet. Not yet. Where was I? I've forgotten. Right. So again, like coin purse here. I've always been the professor, and it just kind of comes out in the wrestling ring.
All right. I'm sorry. I just started thinking about all the chants that you had your first match. And what were they chanting? Penny dime?
Man
or penny?
penny.
Man penny.
A lot of room to talk from those fans. A lot of room. Wow.
There's
a lot of math happening on commentary too. I think in both your matches.
I've heard the commentary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you've had your first match in, of course, and we'll, we like to try to follow up on you guys after a year or 6 months or however the case may be here on the show. So first of all, you guys are new. You guys kind of look for influences. What kind of has your attention these days in wrestling? Anybody out there you're looking to for inspiration, either promotion shows or wrestlers themselves, or even anybody that you're seeing on the indies that kind of sticks out to you?
Well, as far as independent promotions, I've been called a monster all my life, so I think I'd be a perfect fit for the Monster Factory. So, looking forward to going to that sometime down the future. As far as promotions and such that I want to break into, it's no one invites me anywhere, and it's just in wrestling and in life. So I just show up to places and maybe they'll take me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll just roam around and find people that have me. As far as independent influences, honestly, every single one of them. Every single independent worker that I've met has just given me such great advice, whether it's, technical stuff in the ring, slow down here, speed up here, try this, try that. Every single person has a great idea that I can apply to my character. Oh, what if this happens, or what if that happens, or what happens if your potion is blue this week and next time you take a yellow potion? And so it's, everyone has just, it's so much advice that I'm never going to get through all of it, which I'm lucky to, have that privilege where, people, want to offer me so much stuff. And as lame as it sounds, I look up to everyone except for Mandime.
What about you?
Negative.
Elijah
Was
Dean.
the question, where do we want to work in the future?
No.
Or was it,
Did I mishear the question?
What are you influenced by? Whether,
What am
whether
I watching
wrestlers or
nowadays?
Promotions? What are you watching? However you
All
want to
right,
take it.
Okay, well, I thought we were
What's
limited to
got
independent
your
stuff.
attention these days?
Apparently not the interviewer.
I mean, I still watch WWE from time to time. It's just, it's hard to keep my attention for 3 hours when I have so many females trying to get a hold of me. But I still keep tabs on Raw and SmackDown. AJ Styles always like watching him, seeing what's going on with that. Shawn Michaels was my favorite growing up, all-time favorite, so I'm real interested to see if he still has it coming up here.
You'll be getting your cornflakes on Saturday morning and watching that show?
Probably.
Yeah.
I'm
Is
not
it gonna
doing
be
dime
live?
things in the morning.
It's going to be live?
Yeah, it's going to be live, starting at 5 a.m. local time
Oh, wow.
Yeah, probably
here in
not.
Pittsburgh.
Probably
Yeah.
be sound asleep.
Well, by the time you roll out at 8 or 9 a.m. on a Saturday, there'll probably be time for the.
As far as the indies,
H.
I'm always watching stuff on YouTube, whatever crosses, whenever I'm surfing. Big thing is I like watching top moves. I don't know if anybody ever searches that, but
Yeah.
you always find different things to use on there.
Oh, like the top 10 moves
Top,
of.
I watch top 80
Yeah.
from people and just
Top 39
yeah,
moves
you always
of
find just
Tetsuya Naito.
Yeah.
That's just every move he knows. Or why are they all his top moves? It's just he knows all those moves, and they're all really great. And I agree, Tetsuya Naito's great. This is my way of answering the question that you actually asked me, but I misheard. New Japan Mark, LIJ, love those guys. Being the elite, they're hilarious to me. Everything New Japan is what I've been paying attention to. And now I'm done.
All right. Did you have more to yours before you interrupted?
actually going to be here at IWC Saturday. MJF, I've always followed him. No, he has some dime qualities, so always keep an eye on someone like that. He's not quite the dime, but he's all right. He's an all right dude.
He's not quite the dime. He's maybe a nickel and 4 pennies. How many jokes about coins do you think I can get into this conversation?
I'm not doubting your ability, Professor.
I have many.
A lot of math amongst these guys. All right, so usually ask what's the best and worst thing about indie wrestling. What's the best and worst thing about training to be an indie wrestler so far?
Worst thing by far is grape squishers.
I think it's across
Or
the
bag
board, right?
drill. The bag drill's tough too.
Yeah, bag drill.
Drop down, get up, drop down, hit the rope.
Bag
You just
drill.
do that for
Those
like
are
a
grass
minute.
drills back in my day.
They're both performance center drills.
Yeah.
They suck, but they're useful. Best thing, probably the bond you make with people, friendships you can take out of it.
Professor?
Worst things first. I pretend to be a smart guy. Although, as you can say, my attention wavers sometimes. And I kind of forget what I'm doing halfway between stuff, which leads to interesting results. So, drills can be more mentally taxing to me than physically. Not that I'm a physical specimen, but I know I'm going to get blown up anyway. It's the things I don't take into account, like how hard is it to remember, shoulder tackle, hit the ropes, drop down, yada 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 yada. Oh, I've seen people do this a million times. Wait, that last step evaded me. What am I supposed to do now? Was it get punched in the face? Well, it is now. Now my job is to get punched in the face. It was supposed to be, duck a punch in the face, but then it became get punched in the face. So that, life happening really fast in the ring is very difficult. But unexpectedly, making friends, finding people with similar interests and similar senses of humor. honestly, I never leave my front door expecting to make friends or have people, enjoy my company. So I'm always surprised when people say like, "Yeah, come over here, Professor. You're not that annoying right now." Like, oh wow, friendship. They should make a cartoon show with horses about this concept.
Excellent. So tell everybody where you got your social media lined up. You got everything reserved, right?
Let me-
It's common across the board. You got this.
Yeah, let me take a look.
Is there a social media class when you're getting trained here at the IWC school?
I was
No?
already ahead of the game.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Instagram, if you want to follow Old Man Dime, which
All
I
right.
recommend it.
I think old man dime should not be a phrase you use often.
No,
That starts to get creepy.
that's my dad. Papa Man Dime would be
Papa
my dad.
Man dime. I like
Old-
Papa Man dime.
Old Man Dime. That'd be my
Okay.
dad. Sorry. Instagram though would be _Man Dime with 2 E's at the end, not just 1, 2.
Dime me. Dime.
It's just dime.
They're
just-
both silent.
yeah.
Okay.
And then on the Twitter, the Man Dime 98. 98 is the year I was born, so there you go.
That's 2 numbers in a row, 9 and 8.
Don't look up my Facebook, you creeps.
What about you, Professor?
I managed to somehow find the same combinations of words in a row.
Oh.
One might have some underscores, but
Okay.
don't.
All right.
Yeah. On the Twitter, at @DieRyanDie, spelled like my last name, DYE, Ryan, DYE. And on the Instagram, it's at DYE _Ryan _die. So @DieRyanDie. It seems catchy. The more people say my last name, the more confidence I gain, which was the purpose. That's my social media plugs.
There you
Please.
go. And of course, check these guys out at the upcoming shows for IWC Wrestling. And of course, generally, do you know, because depending on when this is released, but do you know any promotions generally you're going to end up in other than IWC in the near future? It's still on the...
Wherever will take me, I guess.
This the journeymen, bookers, give them a try. Wherever you may be, if you're looking for some new blood, both these guys had a really good look there, and again, you can see those and samples. Those will be coming up soon over at IWC. At IndyWrestling.us. IWC Proving Ground 7. And keep an eye, at least a couple of these guys should be popping up here on IWC's Unbreakable as well. That may have happened or may have already happened by the time you hear this, depending. But go check those out and see these. It's always fun to follow these guys from their beginnings and see where they get to in the next couple of years here. So thanks so much to you guys. Of course, the Professor,
Thank you for
Ryan
having me.
Dye, joining us. Thank you. And the Man Dime, Elijah Dean. You didn't even tell us about the Dean's List yet.
Oh, you have to wait and see.
Oh,
just
teaser
wait and
for
see.
you guys. Thank you so much. And like I said, check everything out and support Indie Wrestling over at IndyWrestling.us. A lot of great stuff going on over there, including the Indie Wrestling Network, as well as releases from IWC, RWA, Rise Wrestling with a Y, and, of course, our friends over at Premier Wrestling, Welterweight Wrestling up in Cleveland, and more coming, I can say, over there. And, of course, check out all the other great podcasts talking about all aspects of pro wrestling at WrestlingMayhemShow.com, and find all of this stuff, including the Indie Mayhem Show, on your favorite podcast player. And if it's not there, let us know at that good times at WrestlingMayhemShow.com. We're going to make sure it gets listed for you, too. And please rate and share, and definitely hit your local independent promotion and get these guys booked over there. Thank you so much. Thanks to our guests. Until next time, please support Indie Wrestling.
For the taste of the fun. Sick, you know how I act now. If you got a problem, come and see if I'm a back down. Act wild. Steady sipping Jack now.
This show is a member of the Sorgatron Media Podcast Network. Find out more at sorgatronmedia.com.